All right, you guys. So, quick dream vlog. I had a dream. I went to sleep after I got in about 3 o'clock. Had a dream about, again, this is like a second dream that I've had recently where I took a train or traveled somewhere like by train, and it was like a long ride. I don't know, like a couple of hours, right? Like it was either train or walking, right? And so in this dream, it was a couple hours trip I took to this other place, right? And I need water. Um, when I got there, it was like a shopping center, a large shopping center off of the main road, kind of like if you've ever been to Hampton, Virginia, where the Riverdale Shopping Center was, that kind of thing. And this is in the probably the 90s, right, early 90s. So in the dream, there was like a store that was kind of like a rainbow or something like that, or rainbow or I don't know, one of those type of stores, Simply Fashion, one of those types of things, right? So I went in there, and there was a girl that worked there. The girl that worked there actually is one of my recent former supervisors, right? But in the dream, she wasn't. She was just a girl that worked at this store that was a manager at the store. And I went in, I was shopping for stuff, and I was just there for a few days. And I lived like maybe like lived but stayed at like a complex that was right next to it. And it reminded me of in Orlando. I didn't live in these apartments, but there was apartments right next to this grocery store, right? Really huge apartments, very old. And I don't know if the management was any good, but I remember wanting to go there. This is a lot bigger than the one that I stayed in. And now that I moved down here, I realized how big the apartment was I stayed in. It was ghetto. But I was staying there, and what stood out about those apartments in my dream that made me realize it was those apartments, because those big apartments that were next to that Winn Dixie in Orlando, there was always work being done on some of the apartments, but people could still stay there. And one of the apartments, and I think I had the last dream I had included these apartments, and so I went to stay there, and there was a guy that was staying there, a big guy. Guy had like 6'5", a little bit, a shade or two lighter than me, really big built. Like if I was a guy, his girth would be like mine, except he was solid, no fat, just solid, right? And we were friends. And when I say friends, we we were close. You know, we it kind of reminds me of the feeling of my ex-boyfriend, where that was technically my boyfriend, but probably that person didn't care about me at all. But it didn't feel that way when I'm there. But of course, y'all see how sweet I am. I don't catch on to stuff like that. But we were friends, and we were together, and the living room was huge. And I don't know what the situation was. I think maybe we were living together, or maybe that's where I lived when I was in town. Because I get the feeling that when there was an issue or I didn't want to be there, I lived a couple of hours away. Um, but so in the dream, it was coming to a close, like where I was about to leave again. I had somewhere to go. And he was back in the bedroom, and the last dream was about the dude took this other dude was short and really good. This was a big guy. He was in this bedroom, in the bedroom, and quote unquote, we were about to go take a nap or something. And so I was going in the bedroom to take a nap too. And then he was just like, oh, basically, I don't remember how exactly it was, but basically, you can't take a nap back here. He wanted to be alone. And I said, okay, no problem. And at first I was confused. I didn't understand it. Like, I didn't understand what he was saying because it was another way that it was said. And then I caught on and I was like, oh, he's wanting to be alone. I'm like, okay, no problem. So I went to go take a nap on the couch. And then as it went on, like seconds went on, more and more revealed itself. Not only did he want to be alone, but I guess he had somebody that he wanted to talk to, so he was making a phone call maybe back there to, I guess, some other girl he was talking to. And I wasn't really aware of it, you know. And just like in my old relationship, you know, if you ask him, I used to a friend, something like that, whatever. But he wanted to be alone, he wanted to come with that person. So I'm in the living room, and then I'm thinking, okay, well, now it's time for me to go. You know, it's only been a couple of hours, right? And so I get up to go, but for some reason I didn't have any clothes with me, you know, or something like that, where I ended up leaving the place, but I was really literally half dressed. I had on like a maybe what could be a big sweater shirt that if I was dressed I would have tights under or something like that. But you know, me, I was gonna make a deal out of it. I'm just, you know, I'm gonna go. So I went next door to the shopping center next door in the stream, back to that clothing store, and the manager there, like I said, she was like in real life the old supervisor. She was there, and she you know, she asked me how I was doing, whatever, gorgeous as usual, dressed nicely. And I told her, I said, she said I was looking for something to wear, but the clothes probably, the store was probably closing like in about 15 minutes. And, you know, I didn't find anything, you know, and she was real sweet. Of course, this woman was so sweet, you guys, sweet, sweet, sweet. But I was like, well, she was like, well, you know, she didn't say anything about the clothes, I could tell she was. And then it got to the point where they were closing. And so I left and I was like, I can't walk out like this. So I said, well, she said, what's wrong? And I was like, I need something to wear, you know, because I got to go on a train. And not a train, like a little train that goes across the little, your town that you live in, like a metro train, but it was a real train, like an L train. Oh, type of deal. And so she was like, okay, but everything I locked up. And then she was just like, here, there was this big, huge fur coat and like a big, huge sweater, you know, there was a display piece with the scarf and the little necklace and all that, you know, I don't wear all that stuff. But she brought it out and she was like, here, you can wear this because it was just the closest thing. And, you know, I had to pay her, but the register and stuff wasn't open. So I think she just took care of it. She dropped it on the ground and was like, here, pick it up. You know, she wasn't being rude. It was just so it wouldn't cause a big scene. So I did, and I put it on, and I went back to the house to gather some last things, and then I went to the train. That's the only parts of the dream that I remember. There's a lot more to it, of course, but that's what I remember. Those dreams had elements of, you know, when I say home, the shopping center, Hampton, Virginia. Even though I didn't live in this place, the apartment complex is in Orlando, Florida. How it parallels to the old dream I had. Again, the old dream was about a dilapidated apartment place, so it was only like, it was 2 stories. I lived on the upper story, but it was crumbled. That's very symbolic. And then in this dream, it was just a huge apartment, and it wasn't crumbled. It was very nice. But it was something that I shared with someone. And, you know, it was like I was in a relationship, but that person perhaps didn't really like me and I didn't know it, you know, and the fact that, you know, I'm always out of town was convenient, so I was leaving, you know. That's the male portion of it, the living place. The people portion of it, old supervisor would have been the very sweetest. And in the dream, she wasn't a supervisor, but she was just a manager of a store that I went to. But she's still very sweet, you know. So this maybe saying this person, even outside of that situation, is still going to be an accommodation. So God bless her. I love her. When I get a chance, I'll respond to her. I just haven't because I want to have something to offer. You know, I don't want to be a taker. Someone's taking something from her. I don't want anything from her. You know, I want to be able to give something from her, learn from her, so I can give something. hopefully I get a chance to in the future, but I don't want to make it profound. The male in the dream, how it paralleled to, and in my old dream that I had, it was my sister was the protagonist, big person. It wasn't a good feeling. All this dream was a good feeling, except for, and the male wasn't a good feeling, but it was just an understanding. It was okay. I didn't feel bad on this about it. I keep having dreams about trains. The last one I remember before that was about being attacked. I don't know if I posted it or not, but being attacked by something on a train. But it's crazy. But anyhow, speaking of the supernatural, I have. I'm not gonna speak on that. I'm gonna leave that alone for right now. But it's nothing major, but just something that I've noticed. But and nothing major, nothing that I could really document. It's just a feeling. But anyhow, of a certain person and things that happen around that person. But but I'll leave it alone. But yeah, leave that alone. See no evil, speak no evil. But the other portion of the dream, I talked about people, men. Okay, men. So specifically men. The last dream, the guy, him and I, and again, these men, in both of these dreams, they didn't really, they basically were passing time with me. One where we actually lived together, the other one we lived together too, but he made sure to have a lot of other people around. This one we lived together, but it was just convenience, like we take naps together and things like that. We just need each other's company. It wasn't really a lot, right? Sexual activity, and we just were in each other's company. And if I think about my last relationship, this guy in my dream, both of those guys were nice men. The guy wasn't nice looking, but I didn't realize it. He was passing time. He was just passing time with me. Yeah, that's it. That's all that I really have for that. Just comparing the two, acknowledging what I saw in the two, and that's it. Anyways, bless and love. Bye. Bye.